Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Like I said, my name is David Kerr. I'm a resident at Yellow Spring. Hopefully y'all can hear me, and thank you for providing a microphone this evening. I think we can all agree that it's nice to be heard, and hopefully Logan can hear us. Due to the orientation of my home, the turbines will probably be unlikely visible from inside. However, I, along with many neighbors, will see the turbines or hear the turbines from our property. I attended the Capon Spring Resort Farm informational sharing event to hear what they had to say and to see how they would mitigate the environmental aspect of the project. There's significant financial incentives as evident by CPV hiring a PR firm to lead what was supposed to be a community discussion, but sadly was not. My intention was to attend the meeting and go about life until it became very evident that the large corporation with foreign monies plans to steamroll a small community. So I'm here this evening before the Hampshire County Planning Commission to help the community find answers and explore possible solutions. So let's talk about the steps the community and the Planning Commission can take. I think y'all have talked about those here just with the salad. But first, the community, they need to understand that the Planning Commissioners are volunteers. They're here to listen to the community's concerns and provide feedback to Hampshire County officials. And I'm sure that the Planning Commission will elaborate that later if needed. When the community's voice must be heard locally, for those who oppose the wind turbine project, the project also needs to be taken to the state level, especially the West Virginia Public Service Commission and its engineering division. Engineering staff members provide technical assistance to customers and offer recommendations and objections to the State Public Service Commission. I've spoken to their engineer, Daniel Eggenhoff, and he oversees wind turbine projects, and Daniel is very informative, encouraged me and others to call him directly with any questions or answers, provided his cell number to me if anyone wants it. Nice guy to talk to. Daniel logs every correspondence for or against the project. If you object to the project, written correspondence is preferred. As of yesterday, the Public Service Commission has not received notice of intent from CPV to file for permits. And once the notice of intent is given by CPV, the Public Service Commission will issue a public notice for a meeting time to gather public comments. And the community is encouraged to attend this event in Charleston, West Virginia with a strong turnout. CPV is actively working to obtain letters of support from the following. So the community needs to make sure their voice is heard as we're doing this evening. They're obviously going to try to obtain letters of support from the Hampshire County Chamber of Commerce, the Hampshire County Development Authority, the Hampshire County Board of Education. They'll try to get letters of support from the Hampshire County Planning Commission, from the county commissioners, the House of Delegates, and from U.S. state senators. And while the 89th district delegate from Hampshire County, David Kerr, and the 15th district senator Darren Thorne have stated they're not currently supporting the project, this does not mean we should cease our voices of objections. CPV will do whatever it takes to obtain letters of support before submitting their notice of intent. Other state agencies they're going to be reaching out to is the West Virginia Department of Commerce, the West Virginia Department of Economic Development, the West Virginia Office of Engineering, and the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce. They've also already reached out to Eastern Community and Technical College. But let's talk about what local tools to address commercial solar and wind energy projects that we have. First one is zoning. The second one is the subdivision and land development ordinance, SOLID. At a previous county commissioners meeting, it was recommended that a simple target zoning ordinance be put in place placed on the ballot. However, Hampshire County does not currently have zoning regulations. Implementing them would allow us to regulate the location of these projects within the county and could realistically be achieved within 1.5 to 2 years. So it's not something that would be really quick. The subdivision and land development ordinance sets standards for development of all subdivisions and land development projects. The proposed amendments that have been circulated require large setbacks and other protections as needed. This is currently the best option, as it can be implemented quickly. However, it's not as robust as future zoning would be. The County Commission also discussed adopting narrow, simple, and straightforward zoning that strictly limits and controls industrial wind and solar development. That would be great, and I found a couple of ordinances, such as a ridgeline protection ordinance, which several Virginia counties currently have in place, and it could be used for structure future Hampshire County ordinances from. These are all great suggestions. And my current recommendation is to advocate for the terms provided in the silos amendments, as they would have a restrictive effect on facilities, and they're in hand, they are enforceable, and enabling the implementation to be as quick as possible, providing time to address zoning later. And I hope that working together we can find solutions that appeal the majority. And I want to again thank y'all for giving me the floor this evening and providing a microphone. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very well stated.
I'm just going to address one thing to make it really clear where I think this board stands. I've been on this board for 3 years. I'm the newbie. There's a couple other Army terms that are less appreciative of that, but I'll keep it to the newbie. And what I will say is, in my 3 years on this board, this planning commission that I can recall, and I have the former president right here, we have never done a letter of recommendation for any project. And I don't think there would be anyone on this board that would be interested in starting now. So we are the arbiters of trying to be fair. If you were around when we did solar last year, you would probably realize that we managed to upset just about everybody, but I think we did it equally. So I think we were somewhat successful. We don't have answers for you tonight. I wish we did. I solely wish we did, but we don't have answers for you. There are things that I have said, there are things that others on this board have said, as far as the county level is probably the least likely to succeed at stopping a $350 million project, especially after it's been done or been approved by the state and federal, but that doesn't mean that you should give up. Quite contrary to that.
I just wanted to address this real quick. The list of individuals that I put down that CPV is actively trying to obtain letters is the Public Service Commission engineer, Daniel Eggenhoff. He gave me a couple different access to some of their cases that they have, past and present, and ones that are currently going. And he helped me build that list. So, you know, while I know you stated that the Planning Commission doesn't give recommendations, that doesn't mean the CPV won't come and ask for recommendations. So looking at past and current projects that they have, that's where I formed that list of who they're going to try to get letters of support. And the community needs to understand that prior to them actually submitting a notice of intent, which that notice of intent is asking or letting the state know that they intend to file for a permit to connect to the transmission lines. Without that permit to connect to the transmission lines, they can build the wind turbines. There's nothing that's going to keep them from building them. They just won't be able to connect to the transmission lines to sell off the electricity. Therefore, they probably wouldn't do the project. Nothing state-wise will keep them from building the wind turbines. It's getting that permit. And they have to provide a notice of intent to the Public Service Commission of filing for that permit. And we need to understand that before they even file that notice of intent, they're gonna have all their ducks in a row. They're gonna have all their documents they need. They're gonna have all the letters of support that they need, or they think they need, prior. So once they drop it into the public, or the State Public Service Commission's lap for that permit, they have everything there. But they're not at that step yet, okay? Hopefully I kind of derailed them, after going to the planning meeting and stepping into it with them. But they're not there yet. So our time is now to figure out what we need to do. If you really want to protect the ridge line, of Hampshire County, it might not be the ridge line in your backyard, but the next one will be. And you need to think about that. So definitely there's lots of us here that are object to it. And I can see where, having that type of project like that might be something that's viable, but this isn't a viable project. With solar, I know they have retention ponds for the runoff, because believe it or not, there's, contaminants off the solar panels, go figure, that they're having to put retention ponds in for that. Do y'all think the solar turbine doesn't put off chemicals that a retention pond underneath every single turbine might be needed, and actually, have to be collected and disposed of environmentally because the amount of petroleum products that are in there. And then, with this project being on Spring Mountain, what does everyone go there for? Water, the environment. You're looking at just the foundation of one of those wind turbines is 1/3 of an acre and over 12 feet thick of concrete. Concrete leaches out lime. Lime raises the pH of water. Lime also actually sticks to other contaminants and binds to them and puts them in the environment. So there's a lot of environmental stuff to this, but what the community can do and the Planning Commission is work together. I'm here to work together. There's Thor, you mentioned some of the projects that you looked up and found. I found a lot of them that we can almost take boilerplate and write into an ordinance. I'm happy to work with y'all with that. I'm happy to share the information I found. It's time. We don't have time for all the information I found. As soon as I went to that meeting the other night and they just were steamrolling everyone, I told Jacob and a couple of them that, man, I'm late to the party. I got to catch up. And there's a lot of things that we can do. Working together, sharing information. I'm happy to do that with